Well, not exactly good, so to speak, because commiserations to our colleagues, journalists who lost their lives, 7 of them, as a matter of fact, yesterday, on their way to Gombe State after a wedding. So that was really an unfortunate one. So, and that's also happened alongside the unfortunate incident as well yesterday, where Anthony Joshua, the former world boxing champion, lost 2 people. He survived, thankfully. Unfortunately, so 2 people died in that particular fatal crash. So it was too much for a lot of people to handle yesterday, reflecting on so many things, really, in terms of these accidents that happened on our roads yesterday. So what a sad one. And it just kind of put a spotlight on things, how we do certain things, what we need to do differently to improve. We hope we do eventually.
Indeed. I mean, it's brought up a lot of questions about road maintenance.
Yeah.
It's brought up our discipline as drivers. It's brought up, you know, just the Yuletide and how we always have to hear these kind of devastating stories at this time of the year. Our colleagues in Gombe, they were on their way back from a wedding.
Yeah.
They went to the wedding of a colleague, and that accident happened and claimed 7 people just at the tail end of 2025. And then, of course, the conversation around what's happened with Anthony Joshua. Sadly, those 2 men who died, they're his coaches. You know, these are people who helped his training. And I don't know if you watched his last fight with Jake Paul. I think that's his name. And you know, looking at that, this is a man who's... What if he was sitting in the front of that car? You know, it's so much has happened between when the accident happened and right now. We're seeing the Federal Safety Corps trying to talk about what it is that has caused this accident. And it's everywhere. It's on CNN. Everyone is talking about the story. The president called Anthony Joshua, called his mother as well, you know, to make sure that everything is fine. Watching the champ, you know, in pain like that really did do something, at least to me and to a lot of us who are big fans of Anthony Joshua. I remember during that fight he had with Jake Paul, he was criticized for representing Nigeria. Remember, there were people in the UK, they were, why is he using, he said, if someone called him ungrateful, you know, why is he using the Nigerian flag behind him? Why isn't he holding up the British flag? But this is someone who has always represented Nigeria, always declared his Nigerianness. We're not even shocked that he's in Ogun State because this is someone who comes into the country all the time, you know. And to think that this happened, whatever it is that has caused this crash, it's an important time for the FRSC. I think this is an opportunity for the FRSC, Federal Safety Corps, to now start to look at their operations. I was listening to Bukola. I don't know that axis very well, but I was listening to Bukola on the morning brief, and she said something. Now, the FRSC person said that trailer was just on the road. It wasn't parked there. It was temporary. It was going to leave. And she pointed out something that, with all due respect, that particular stretch of road has a lot of trailers who park on the side of the road. And we see that happening not just in Ogun State. I don't know that axis. But the north, where I know, it's a big problem. There are many roads that you just see trailers on the highway, just on the side of the road, whether they are stopped for repairs, whether they are stopped for maintenance, whether they're picking up some. We don't know what it is, but you just know that there are stretches, at least in Kaduna, if you're on your way to Kaduna, there are stretches of road where there are just trailers parked on the highway, and that is a death trap. Whatever it is that's caused this particular situation, we'll need to hear what the FRSC has to say about it and what has caused this. Well, was it overspeeding? Was it indiscipline? Is it the road? And then the marshals on the road. How much work are these marshals on the road doing? Especially during the Yuletide, to ensure that people do not overspeed, to ensure that the right things are done on our highways, because this is the busiest time of the year. Well,
speaking about, you know, this vehicles or trailers being on the road, parked on the road like that, even if people have to park temporarily, there are ways of doing some of those things. But here we see the reverse is the case in many cases. I mean, even here at channels, we've lost staff as a result of a vehicle parked at night, as a matter of fact, in the town, not even on the outskirts or any expressway, just in the town, as it were. So it's been a huge challenge that's been with us for a while, and hoping that that will be eliminated. But let's go on. We do have Mr. Olusegun Ogungbemide, who is an assistant corps marshal of the Corps Public Education Officer of the Federal Safety Corps, the headquarters in Abuja. He joins us on the line Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigeria. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning.
Yeah, so speaking about this matter, I do know, yes, the command, the corps has spoken, put up statements and representations in different fora about what transpired yesterday. But some of the key questions or what people want to know from your perspective now, having gone through all of those details, I mean, perhaps maybe you could even tell us, does the command have some sort of meetings and review scenarios and then proper solutions as to what we need to do moving forward to ensure these kind of things don't happen again?
Thank you very much. On behalf of the Corps Marshal Sheikh Mohammed MNI, I really want to commiserate with the family of the deceased, and we also wish our hero, Anthony Joshua, a quick recovery.
Okay, I think we lost that connection. We'll try and get the connection back and just get his perspective. So we're just trying to find out, because normally what you'd expect from services such as this one is when these kind of things happen, they're supposed to have a brief or debrief and see, okay, what went wrong? How do we carry out operations today? What do we do tomorrow to ensure we have better services and representation tomorrow to indeed show that, yes, we are not just there physically, but we are there doing a job of work and ensure things happen properly. So those are some of the things we'd like to hear from him when we do get that connection back. Okay.
He's back.
All right, so go ahead, Mr. Mumimde.
Yes, it's quite unfortunate that despite all the efforts put in place, especially right from the time we started our special engagement from 15th of December, in line with the preparation for these end-of-year activities, where we've tried to mobilize members of the public on the need to properly make use of the highway responsibly. Yeah, when so many informations have been given about what transpired, so many submissions, and the FRSC also made its own submission, which was web published. The crash, the observatory investigation, you know, we have the observatory, we have the technical investigation. The observatory is being a professional that has been in the line of safety for so many years. When you get to the scene of a crash, you should be able to give an information, let me say, first-hand information on what probably must have caused the crash. When you look at, if you are handy with the picture or the video of the scene, you agree with me that we have an empty 3 lanes outside where the truck actually parked tentatively, because the information reaching us said it's not that the vehicle broke down there, maybe the man parked there, which was on the shoulder of the road. And when you look at the impact of that crash, definitely you know that whoever that must have been operating under the speed limit as put in place by federal government wouldn't have had such impact. And where the crash actually occurred and the impact on the car, that was where we had that initial submission while awaiting the technical investigation. As regards our efforts, we have not failed in our responsibility, because we know majorly the major cause of road traffic fatality is speed. And that's why we've been making this advocacy right from the beginning of this year. Having all the necessary effort put in place, introduction of the speed limit device, having our men on the road to do speed calming, because it's very difficult for you to put bumps on the express. So majorly what we can do is to speak to the road users on the danger of getting involved in excessive speed. And that's what we have been doing. And we have our patrol team, majorly that have been parading the roads in case they see such occurrence. And that was what actually made us to appear at that scene within 3 minutes when the incident occurred, because we had our formations lined up along that corridor. And that's exactly what happened. But like you rightly said, the attitude and the level of indiscipline is what we cannot judge from outside. The speed at which the vehicle was going is being determined at this moment by the man behind the steering, which is outside the immediate control of Federal Road Safety Corps. That's why we know that the best we can do anytime we have this kind of situation is to give enough advocacy and to speak to the conscience of the road users, especially the drivers and the commuters too, because we believe that they are the ones serving as ambassadors for FRSC wherever they are. And that was what prompted our theme for last year. Speak out when your driver is involved in some reckless driving, because drivers kill more passengers than themselves being killed in any crash.
Mr. Benide, let's go back a little bit. You said the response time was 3 minutes?
Yes, the response time was 3 minutes.
Okay. And you said to check the speed, you wanted to be able to look at if anyone was overspeeding. How are you going to ascertain that? Was there an FRSC person on the road when the accident happened? Was there someone checking speed at that particular spot? How are you going to find out how much speed was being used at that particular time when the accident happened?
Yes, I made mention of something now, that by virtue of the knowledge that you acquire in the course of the job, it's like being a medical personnel. Initially, when you see a patient, you should be able to see some symptoms and have conclusion, which after all is okay, let's go to test to really justify this. Why we know we at that moment there was no technical equipment to actually confirm the speed at which the vehicle was going. But when you look at the impact of a crash, you should be able to know at what speed that vehicle is likely to be moving, because the impact determines how high the speed is. The regulations of FRSC says on the express you are expected to go 100 kilometers per hour. And if you have a crash under that 100 kilometers per hour, there's every probability that the crash will not be faster because the impact will not be huge. But having judged from what we saw involving that Jeep and the parked truck, the push and the impact could also give you a better guess, pending the time we wait for the technical investigation that we are looking at. So that is just an assumption. But when you get to a scene as an expert, this is what you can assume. And we also confirm, when you look at the impact, you have 3 lanes. And this is the shoulder, what could have led to the vehicle getting involved in a crash on the shoulder. These are all what we normally put together when we get to the technical stage to now come out with
you said there's a technical investigation going on right now. When are we expecting the results of that technical investigation?
Yes, the court martial has given directive, and I'm sure the moment it's out, they will reach out to members of the public. All
right, just before you go, could you tell us, because most times when we drive past FRSC vehicles on the roads, we don't see any emergency services alongside them. And in this case, too, there were questions concerning how you provide rescue services, how you respond to those kind of services. Is it a deliberate scenario wherein FRSC don't usually have emergency ambulances or such services?
When you talk of emergency ambulances and response to road traffic crashes in Nigeria today, can say we have the top notch when it comes to FRSC activity. And I can boldly mention that that corridor where this crash occurred, we have more than 5 emergency ambulance points there. We have at Mowe.
Were they involved? Were they part of the response team for that accident?
Let me get through. Please. We have one at Sagamo where we even have a roadside clinic. We have at Ugiri. We have at Ogumakin, and we also have at Oluyole End. And like I rightly mentioned, this crash occurred, and immediately within 3 minutes, because the patrol team were at the other side of the road, that's inward Lagos, when the crash occurred. So they just made a U-turn and go to that spot immediately. And if Anthony Joshua himself is allowed to speak, he will commend a nation he has actually come from by virtue of the prompt response he received from that scene. The people, the love expressed by the people that were here who were actually encouraging him at that scene. And we bring that by his side, which is more palliative for him, for him to reduce the trauma. And he was also having the DSS team that were following him. So when we talk of 3 minutes, there are process and procedure for getting ambulance to a scene, because the first thing that come up is for you to cordon up the area to prevent another crash from happening. So within the 2 minutes, and 3 minutes that this incident happened, having realized that Anthony Joshua was stable, the DSS team, that's his security operative, moved him straight into their vehicle.
Yeah, so those are part of the challenges, because, I mean, in that kind of scenario, asking him to sit upright, moving him into a vehicle in that manner, not into an ambulance.
Yes, you could know,
that's not the
it's a matter of, first thing is that they discovered that they know that because our operatives were there, and while you are calling for the ambulance, they felt this man, he responded. If you look at the video, he responded fine. I know there could be temptation of maybe the issues of internal injury, but they felt at that moment that they have the ability and is able enough to
so that's the point you're making. It's not about what they feel. It's about doing the right things, because you could see somebody who looks good, but it's not actually good. So just one more thing before you go. Do you have any information on the crash of the NUJ, the journalist in Gombe?
In Gombe.
Yes, I got the information this morning, and they said there was a tire burst and the vehicle lost control, and unfortunately we lost some of the passengers in the vehicle. And well, that's part of the issue we have been battling with. When it comes to issue of vehicle maintenance, we have been on it. You all agree with me that the efforts that we have put in place has gone a great deal, and we continue. It's a continued process. We continue to do what is right and see what we can do to reduce this rate of road traffic crashes on Nigerian roads.
We do thank you very much indeed for your time this morning, Mr. Ngumde.
I appreciate it. Thank you.